Welcome to Off the Court, a show dedicated to making you the best version of yourself as a player and as a person. I'm Coach Jack, CEO and owner of Close the Gate Hoops. If you're trying to take your life and game to the next level, this is the podcast for you. Let's get it. What up, gatekeepers? Back at you today with another episode of Off the Court. Today, it's going to be just me today. Coach Jack, Coach Aaron, and Coach Connor are currently moving into their apartment in La Crosse. And we are overproducing a ton of podcast episode, gatekeepers. So the timeline on when I'm recording this might be a lot different to when you're actually hearing it. But right now, we just got done with our 3v3 camp, and we're currently all in the process of going to college. We're setting up training in La Crosse right now with Coach Aaron and Coach Connor. Me personally, I'm going to play basketball at UW-Platteville, so I will not be training during the school year just because I'm basically going to have basketball all day, which is not going to give me any time to obviously do personal training. But here in town, we're going to have Coach Carson and Coach Kate, new additions to CTG, which is extremely exciting, so that they can continue on with the current students that we have at Close the Gate. Overall, we're currently at 150 plus students. Our podcast is at over 72 5-star reviews, which is absolutely crazy. And we also have over 63 5-star reviews on our Google business page, which is also absolutely insane. Because right now, when you look up basketball training on Google, we're the first thing that pops up, which is really, really cool to think about. Just random people looking up basketball training and Close the Gate. There's your first option, which is all because of you guys, the listeners, the students, the people that truly love Close the Gate and help us bring more energy to you guys. So thank you for that. So today's topic, gatekeepers, growth versus accomplishments. So, and the reason I want to talk about this today is because this is something I still struggle with, even to this day. Like today, I struggled with this growth versus accomplishment. When you think about it, the majority of people, really basically everyone, focuses on the accomplishments, the goals to acquire at the end of your journey over the actual growth and becoming your best self. So when we focus on only our accomplishment and only achieving our goal, it actually hurts the enjoyment of the journey, right? So we want to have the ability to trust the process, right? But honestly, the most important thing we can do is probably to enjoy the process. Because if you get to the end and you achieve that goal, you achieve whatever your accomplishment was, and you're still not satisfied, if you didn't enjoy that journey, you're kind of screwed, right? You wasted all that time in misery for an accomplishment that didn't even satisfy you. But even if the accomplishment doesn't satisfy you, but you are focusing on enjoying the journey along the way, you're focusing on the growth, then you're not going to have as much regret, and you'll be proud of all the things that you went through because your main focus wasn't actually the accomplishment. Like I said, without enjoying the journey, that makes the accomplishment almost feel worse. So you're almost more prone to being less satisfied about the accomplishment or achieving your goal if you didn't enjoy the journey in the first place. So it's really important when you are grinding, you're in that zone where you're trying to outwork everybody, that you're really just taking a step back and enjoying it and not just putting yourself through misery every single day. When you focus on accomplishment over growth, it's kind of a lose-lose situation because, one, you're not going to be as fulfilled if you're focused on accomplishment, right? Because you're not enjoying what you're doing. So it's a lose-lose situation because you're not enjoying the accomplishment. And if your main focus is also accomplishments, you're not going to be as good as you could be because your focus isn't growth, right? To get as good as we can be as fast as we want to, growth has to be the focus, like the number one priority, because most people don't have this focus. Because when you see people shying away from misses or shying away from failure, their growth isn't obviously the first priority. Because if your first priority is growth, being uncomfortable as much as possible is the definition of focusing on growth. And this is something even to this day that I'm still working on. Like today, I was shooting free throws, and normally when I'm doing workouts with the gun outside, I have to make a certain amount in a row before I can leave, right? So what this does, it builds up in-game pressure, right? When you get close to that number in a row, it puts pressure on you, which is the same type of pressure that you're gonna experience in the game. But today, I shot literally 1,000 free throws. My goal is to get 30 free throws in a row, which is something I can do pretty consistently. I mean, it takes me 5-10 minutes, but I normally get it. But I shot 1,000 free throws today because I couldn't get to 30 free throws in a row. And I was extremely frustrated. And I was just thinking to myself, I tell my students this all the time, right? If you made every shot, basketball wouldn't be fun. The reason it's fun is because we missed in the first place. And we've talked about this. We made a podcast about this too. I'm not sure if it's released prior to this or after, but I know I overproduced one just like this. I was so frustrated that I couldn't get this thing over with when right there that I was focusing on the accomplishment and not growth, right? Because I was so focused on getting 30 free throws in a row. I wasn't enjoying those shots because I was only focused on the accomplishment of it, which then resulted in more frustration in the first place. When my thought process should have been, all right, if I miss this free throw and I'm at 29 free throws in a row, that's okay. Then I get to put more free throw work in, right? I get more game-like pressure. It's more opportunity for growth when I miss, right? That's the type of mindset we got to have, and I just got to do a better job of enjoying it while it lasts and not just focus on getting that goal done. So I thought that was a great example even today where I was focusing on accomplishments over growth, right? And really all we can do throughout our life is try to become our best selves. Obviously do your best, forget the rest, but we really got to start focusing more on growth over accomplishments. So that was a great example of my free throws today. I was definitely frustrated, but I took a step back and I thought this was a great opportunity to talk about growth versus accomplishments for a podcast. When you're doing growth over accomplishments, it's a win-win situation, right? Because one, you're enjoying the process, right? The grind. You're enjoying it while it's lasting because you're focusing on the growth, right? So every failure, every setback you have, you enjoy that moment, right? Because it's making you better, right? Chasing failure makes us better. We learn and adapt to when we fail, which increases our knowledge and increases our capacity of what we can do. So obviously that's a win situation when we're focusing on growth. And then it's even another situation. There's no way we don't achieve whatever our goal is if our main focus is growth, right? Because that's going to get to wherever we want to be fastest. So it's really, really important we flip that mindset of accomplishments not being the main focus over growth. Another awesome example for me personally when I was mainly just focused on accomplishments was like senior year accolades. I was a late bloomer. I was always a grinder. I always loved to try and outwork as many people as I could. But towards my senior year, I was mainly just focused on my personal accolades, right? So as a result, I didn't reach basically any of my senior year goals because I was only focused on getting those accomplishments, right? I was only focused on getting 20 points per game. I was only focused on getting first team all conference. I was only focused on personal accomplishments and achieving those goals. And as a result, when I wasn't getting the results that I wanted, I became more frustrated, right? Because my priority was the accomplishments, and it seemed like I was getting farther and farther away from it. If I would have had a growth mindset in the first place and realized that those setbacks were meant to happen so that I could become a better player in person, right? So with a growth mindset, I probably would have been able to achieve all my senior year accolades if I was focused on the process and the growth. But I wasn't. I was only focused on achieving those accomplishments and goals, so that actually built up pressure and frustration and make it less likely to get there. So if I would have had a growth mindset my senior year of high school, I definitely think I would have accomplished everything I would have ever dreamed of, right? So right now, if you're growing up, if you're in middle school, high school, think about that for a second. Are you only focused on achieving something or your status or being able to say you did this, or are you focused on the actual growth part of it, like enjoying the failure and enjoying the setbacks, enjoying the process? Because I think a lot of people, basically everyone, misses this crucial separation between growth and accomplishments. I was just obsessed with being better than everyone else, which actually stunted my growth, right? I was only focused on my status and what I could achieve over everyone else, which was not the right focus to have. And I think this podcast topic is also a great example of how quickly CTG has grown, because right from the beginning, chase failure was always a slogan I love to use with kids, because the first thing I noticed whenever I was training students is the frustration of failure, right? And it's something I struggled with to this day. Even I've gotten way better at it after understanding chase failure. Just getting so down and frustrated when we fail, when I'm trying to flip kids' frames of mind to realizing that has to happen to get to wherever you want to go, right? That will make you better faster instead of being comfortable not losing the basketball when we're doing dribbling drills, not missing shots when we're doing shooting drills. You have to get outside your comfort zone, and you have to fail to grow as fast as possible. And I say it all the time. Everyone gets better, right? But the top of the top, the people that you admire and look up to, those household names, they understood how to get better faster because everyone gets better. It's the speed of your growth. That's what matters on getting to where you want to be. But to get back to in terms of CTG's growth, I honestly, looking a year back to when I first started CTG in like the beginning of September of 2020, it's insane how much CTG has grown, right? I said earlier in this podcast, 63 5-star reviews is absolutely nuts. 150 students, absolutely nuts. 72 5-star podcast reviews, nuts. I never even thought I would start a podcast. Our website is awesome. The 3v3 camp was a huge success. Over 100 kids in that 3v3 league. Just thinking back to it. And Coach Aaron, Coach Connor, expanding trainers, Coach Karsten and Coach Kate. Like the percentage of growth was ridiculous, and I realized that those accomplishments were able to happen because growth was the mindset, right? Chasing failure was the mindset. I didn't even necessarily have all those goals to accomplish in the first place. And I'm glad I didn't, because I know if I would have made those, then I would have only been focused on those when I'm actually just need to be focused on the growth, like becoming the best business owner that I could be, right? So in terms of how CTG has grown, I think that's a great example of focusing on growth over accomplishments compared to my senior year self focusing on accomplishments over growth. Or today, when I was shooting free throws and I was just focused on getting those 30 in a row, I got to be focused on the growth mindset. I needed to shoot more free throws to become a better free throw shooter. I think probably the most important part of chasing failure and that growth priority is frame flipping. And by the term frame flipping, I basically mean that no matter what type of negative situation it is, you'll always be able to flip it and turn it to a positive, which is extremely important in that growth mindset, because you can't look at anything that takes you farther from your goal as something as a negative, right? Because it's only going to grow you as a player when you fail, and it's only going to make you closer to your goal in the long run. It's like regression equals progression. We think we're getting farther away, but we're actually progressing faster because by failing, we're growing faster. It's a lot harder said than done. If I had a whiteboard to write it down right now, I think it would be a lot easier to explain. But regression equals progression. It's like changing a shot, right? When we change a shot, our results are going to get worse, right? But over time, we're getting closer to that future shot that we want that's going to shoot at a very, very high percentage, right? So we actually regressed, but in the long run, we progressed, which I think is extremely important to frame flip. I think my father's death is a great example of frame flipping, right? Don't get me wrong, it's still the hardest thing I go through every single day. But if I didn't have the ability to frame flip his death over the last year in terms of trying to turn it into a positive, trying to take the positive things out of it, and why he died, right? Obviously, I have no idea why he died, but having the ability to think that everything happens for a reason, I think was super, super important to the success of CTG and myself. Having that ability to frame flip, no matter how bad it is, there is a positive. There is an ability to flip the frame of mind. So I think that is probably the number one thing in turning your mindset from accomplishments to growth, is that frame flipping personality trait. So gatekeepers, I know this was a quick one, but I just wanted to let you know that you're going to achieve whatever you want to if you flip. Stop focusing on accomplishments and achieving your goals and focus more on the growth aspect. And I promise you're going to go much, much farther than you ever thought possible. Thanks for listening, gatekeepers. We'd really appreciate it if you haven't left a review for our podcast or even our Google business page, to go leave some reviews. We truly appreciate the help from you guys, and just giving us more energy to keep giving you content to become the best player and person that you can be. All the information we give you, seriously, if I would have had this when I was like a freshman in high school, I have no idea where I'd be today. I'd probably be a much better ball player. So thank you guys. I'm Coach Jack. I'll see you next week. Peace out, baby. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Off the Court. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please don't forget to leave reviews if you haven't yet. This helps us with engagement and helps us rank higher to make an influence on more basketball lives. I also strongly encourage you guys to check out our free ebook download that's 25 pages long, How to Unlock the Mental Side of the Game. I was a player that was constantly grinding and constantly working, and it was really hard for me not to see results from the amount of work I was putting in. But this ebook that I wrote dives exactly into those types of questions. I was completely ignoring the most important part of basketball, which is the mental side of the game. So the 25-page ebook that I wrote is for you guys to give yourselves a leg up on your competition and almost like a secret weapon. I call it the basketball cheat code. Also, check out our website, ctghoops.com. On there, we got tons of programs that you guys can download to make yourselves a better basketball player. We have the CTG Productivity Notebook, helping you guys become addicted to productivity. Of course, in-person training. We are located now in multiple cities. And then we have the CTG blog, free education on becoming your best basketball self. Lastly, follow all our social media pages at CTG Hoops, where we post multiple times a day, trying to make you the best player and person that you can be. All the links for these are down in the description below. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys check out all the other episodes of Off the Court, and make sure you're ready for next week's episode. I'm Coach Jack. We out, baby. Peace.